a podcast to honor the gods.
This better come with a sacrifice.
Dave X Media.
I'm Christina Kahn.
And I'm Leela Hilton.
And this is Burn Before Reading, the podcast about shiterature.
We're here again to examine the terrible writing we did when we were younger and talk about other cringy literary topics.
We have a couple awesome guests here with us today. Say hello to the listeners, David.
Hello.
And say hello to the listeners, Meredith.
What up?
David, what are your pronouns?
He, him.
And Meredith?
She, her, for now, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure. We'll ask you again if you come on the show again.
Or maybe in a few minutes.
That's like, you know our high school friend Laura?
Yeah.
Every time we talk on the phone, we're like, pronoun check-in, what's the status? I've never changed mine, but...
Oh, it's respectful. It's nice.
It's respectful. What's the latest?
Oh.
David and Meredith are two of my oldest friends. We went to high school together and we went to also middle school together, which is more of note today. You might remember David from our 2-part Valentine's Day episode entitled, "I'm Sorry I Told the Internet You Were Bad at Kissing."
Classic.
I love it a lot. And Meredith, it's your first time on the show.
I am. It's an honor.
We are so happy to have you. Tell the listeners a little bit about yourself.
Who, me?
Yes, you. They know David already.
All right. So, Meredith, I live in Scotland these days. And,
very cool.
Relevant to the pod, I moved here 2 years ago to do a master's degree in creative writing.
Oh, I think you might be the most highly qualified person who's ever been on the show.
But it's
Wait, literally?
That just profoundly amplifies the cringe factor of approaching this ancient text. Yeah.
That is so cool. How do you like Scotland? What part are you in?
I live in Glasgow.
I know that part.
Yeah.
That's maybe the only one I know.
Oh, really? More than Edinburgh?
I mean, Edinburgh, yeah.
There's the other one.
Naming towns.
Yeah, it's I'm sure if I live... Yeah, I just name every city and you're like, yeah. Yeah, Scotland's the shit, except it's often very gray and rainy, so,
Sure.
Yes.
Edward Cullen would be all over that.
I do think about Twilight a lot.
Sorry, we covered Twilight last week on the pod.
Okay, good company. Yeah, so just vibing out here. I run poetry open mic here. I write poems and shit. Sometimes they're published in, prestigious places and someplace,
Oh my God, yes. So I've totally seen your little updates on Facebook, and I've been cheering you on from afar because it's hard out here for a writer, and I'm proud of you.
It is, thank you.
David, how have you been since, the episode came out 6 months ago, but we recorded it a year and a half ago. So how have you been in the last 6 months to a year and a half?
I am vibing and thriving. So husband and I moved to Florida. We live in the Tampa area now. I am a corporate slave.
Congrats.
So love that for me. I work for a debt relief company in the retention department. So I speak with clients all day long who are considering opting out of a program to help them get out of credit card debt. And
you're like, hey, please don't bail on this goal. Is that right?
Pretty much,
wow.
Yeah. So, I work with them and come up with solutions and, see if there's any way we can move forward with the process. And it's very stressful and very emotionally draining, but also very rewarding. And I am paid pretty handsomely. So.
Oh, okay.
Hell
Cheers.
yeah.
Okay, well, that's honestly getting paid handsomely is all we need these days.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, we just bought a house 3 months ago.
Congratulations!
Wow, congrats!
It's very exciting, and I've already had to do maintenance things that were very annoying. I unclogged the dishwasher all by myself.
Yeah,
wow, look at you go!
I cleaned the
You have
the
to
dryer vent all
resolve
by
your own
myself.
fucking issues.
I know.
Honestly, I bought a house with an HVAC engineer. That's the secret. Get you a man. Get you a man who knows his way around an HVAC unit.
Mm-hmm. I got to buy a new one of those probably next year.
Well, if you lived any closer, I would send Sean over to see if we can get a couple extra years of life out of it.
Why don't you just ship him down to Florida?
Yeah, or just come visit me.
I would come visit you, but I'm against visiting Florida with Sean because he's not an outdoor boy and he doesn't like the sun or the sea.
I really respect that choice.
That's completely fair.
Ask me how we ended up together. It wasn't a beach date. So it seems like the two of you are both very qualified to be on a literary podcast.
I mean, one of us writes for a living, and one of us speaks for a living. So
you majored in poetry, didn't you?
Yep, my degree was in English, but my concentration was in poetry.
Okay, give me what was the hot topic of the diss?
Of the diss?
The dissertation.
Oh,
I didn't do a dissertation.
Like Shirley did a paper or something.
Oh my gosh, yes. I have so many. Actually, Christina keeps popping up in my mind because I have my old computer still from college. I have
that way with people.
And I keep saying, I need to just take it apart and take the damn thing out because I wrote so many things. Like the last time I was able to turn that computer on, I read an essay that I wrote from start to finish. I had no recollection of writing it, no recollection of the source material, no recollection of the class. I'm like, what is this document?
Yes, and think about how many hours you spent on that and now you don't remember it all.
Wild.
But you know what I do remember? Weirdly enough, middle school. But before we get to this week's piece, Layla.
Yes. Meredith.
Ooh.
What has been cringing you out lately?
And it can be like a zit or the election or you fall down in public and people laugh at you.
Yeah, big ol' fart on your mom,
We've had all of these on the show before.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you the broad answer and then the personal answer, which is broadly J.D. Vance, author of Hillbilly Elegy, being the Republican.
Oh my God.
Did you read that book?
Vice president.
I read that book.
It's garbage. It's so bad.
Oh my God.
It's really bad.
So him being the VP for Trump is profoundly cringe, just on a very broad level.
Wait, did that happen?
Yeah.
Or is it
was announced
I
today.
didn't catch
that. Was
announced today at 4:30.
Yeah.
Shit, we don't know nothing, Tina.
I was already drinking.
Well, I started drinking upon announcement.
That is chilling. That's one of those books where my mom put it in my hand and was like, "This will really help you understand a lot." And I read the whole thing.
Too.
My mom too.
What the fuck? I handed it because we're from near Appalachia,
yeah. And all our moms are like, "Wow, poor people, imagine."
I know. And just like when she made me read Where the Crawdads Sing, I put it back in her hand silently, and she knows what that means.
She knew.
I'm like, I have read this.
Say who's the author again?
J.D. Vance.
J.D. Vance, He wrote Hillbilly Elegy, which is basically a book about don't forget about the poor people.
But it's all very dog whistly, very shorthand, poor people, but he means angry white people,
Yes, yeah, because hillbilly.
Got it.
It's a specific kind. Anyway.
Long story short, skip the book.
Yeah, I'll tell you all about it.
So that's my broad cringe. My personal cringe.
I can't believe I'm learning that live on the show. That's terrible.
This just
terrible.
I know, it's I'm sorry to inform you, but
she doesn't even live here.
I know.
And she told us.
I know, it traveled across to Scotland before it got to you.
Well, it was fucking 11 p.m. over there. She was just whiling down the hours until she could log on to a 1 a.m. podcast recording.
Unironically, from 9:30, I was like, fuck, how do I kill 4.5 more hours?
Oh my God.
And speaking of HVACs, I did teach my Sims how to upgrade all their appliances. So that was a way to kill time.
Nice.
Congrats.
Did you make them all
Sims.
Handy or something?
Yeah, you just have to
skill.
You gotta buy all the parts and just get them to work.
Leela's a bit of a simmer too.
Oh,
yeah.
good, yeah. We don't need to get into it, but yeah.
No one else wants to hear us talk about this.
Best not.
Anyway, I have I sussed out my personal cringe recently in preparation for this, and it was I asked my partner Michael, who also went to high school with us.
Oh yeah, I always forget about him because I wasn't friends with him.
Yeah, I mean me either. It's fine. But I was like, hey, like, what's like a cringe thing I've done recently? And he was like,
it is good to outsource, but it can be hurtful.
No, he was like, what do you mean? Like, you're always cringe. And I was like, okay.
He cool. Whips out a steno notepad and is like, oh, I've actually been recording this whole time.
No, he's like, I literally just like watch you because you're cringe all the time and it's really funny. And I'm just like, okay, cool. But like, here's my quick anecdote. It's just like, so like a few weeks ago, I was in Belfast for like this like poetry thing. It's like fairly prestigious. And so I'm like
cosmopolitan. You're so cool, girl.
It's like very rare. I'm mostly just in my flat all the time. But anyway.
Oh my God, she said flat.
She's sorry, so cool, I know. Guys. I'm a convert. Sorry.
She's so cool.
So I'm in Belfast for this relatively prestigious like poetry thing, and I'm like drunk out at the pub, and there's like these two like quite like accomplished Irish poets just like sitting at a table like chatting, and I just like walked up and like swung a chair around and like slammed it down and sat down with them and just joined the conversation.
Yes,
I love that
so much. That's the confidence we need to see.
And how'd it go? Did they accept?
Yeah, they're actually really sweet people, so it was all good.
So this was a brag. It was a backdoor cringe brag.
No, because I won't like I'm still cringing about it. I feel like they were just really nice. But like the next day, like my friend in the program was like, Meredith, I could not stop thinking about like the sound that chair made as you dragged it around the floor. I was just like,
oh
so anyway.
God.
That's so haunting my dreams currently.
And like I definitely understand the feeling of doing something drunk and then the next day you're like,
just like what the fuck?
My memory does not have a good read on what kind of a move that was.
Like I was like kind of a power move, like bitch,
definitely.
This is my seat at the table.
Feminism.
Like literally, like you will hear it drag across the bar.
Not the drag.
I know the drag.
She's a drag queen.
Yeah,
drag queen.
Totally. Oh my God, that's amazing.
So there you go.
All
Leela,
right.
what's cringing you out this week?
Let's see. So like in true BBR fashion, without even knowing it, I've had to like cancel on my friends, or I've canceled on my friends, aka Tina and other people, because those are my friends.
She's been sick.
But like another time before that, I was just like having a little bit of a depression epi, and like, sometimes we can push through.
You missed Twilight at the Bird.
I did, and I've been really beating myself up about that.
Well, and it comes around once a year, so
it's true, just like Sanny. So I then was very excited to have this big girls' weekend with our friend Alex, who got proposed to.
She was proposed at.
Yeah, she came in from out of town, from Baltimore. We were going to do like this fun girls' sleepover night with all this cool stuff, and then I like got the achies in my bones, and I took my temperature and I was like, well, sure enough, that's 101.9. But before that happened, and I was still sort of feeling crummy, I was like, guys, should I or should I not come? And our friend Brooke was like, I have a 2-year-old. Can you please not come?
And also respectfully, I was like, I don't want to get sick, but Brooke has the 2-year-old, so I'll let her say no.
Yeah, I know. And so I was like, you're so right. And I knew that I was going to have to cancel anyway, but I just felt bad for
And then Freya gave us all hand, foot, and mouth rash or whatever.
Yeah.
What?
The baby had daycare cooties.
I didn't get no hand, foot, and mouth.
Isn't that like eradicated? Like, is that still alive?
Is it foot and mouth disease?
No, people get it. People get that hand, foot, and mouth. People get that all the time. I work in pediatrics.
I mean, and I blame Freya.
Yeah, but actually,
the baby.
But the baby. But actually, what was cringe about that was that I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be productive. And so I sat down at my piano and wrote a little song about how I was sad, and then I recorded it, and then I posted it on TikTok.
You did? Mm-hmm. You have to tell me these things because I don't get on TikTok, but I will to go like your video.
Oh, okay. Well, yep, I did.
True millennial ally.
And like now thinking back of it, I'm like, oh yeah, remember how there's like these embarrassing songs I wrote when I was younger and like rage or when in tears. and how we're making fun of them now.
Leela, if this podcast goes on for 10 more years, we're going to come back to that TikTok song and be like, wow, I was so sick that day.
You're setting up your own content for the future?
Yes.
I do that all the time when I'm writing now. I'm like, is this going to be really bad one day? I have to keep telling myself, no, you have become a good writer. This isn't going to be fodder for your podcast someday.
Yeah, whatever you have to tell yourself, it's but we do try to insure ourselves, I guess, unintentionally. But yeah, I also so I worked from home today instead of driving to Northern Virginia, which I'm so glad. And
why have you been driving up there so much lately? What the fuck?
It's my job now. I have to.
Why? There's literally like 16 locations in the Richmond area.
I know, but they gave me the ones that the clinics that are like the hardest because I'm the best.
They're the hardest because you have to drive up 95 to get there.
No, they're the hardest because they all have attitude problems. Anyway,
and you're gonna help
and
the
I have to drive.
Problem?
But I know I'm a personality hire, so I just come in and I'm like, woo, hey everybody, and they're all like, we hate you.
True.
But I'm like, nah, I will make you like me if it is the last thing I do. But yeah, I was working from home, and so I was playing. Ooh, don't listen, work. I was playing Sims. Fired? No. They need me too much. And
Leela, if your work is listening, you were fired a long time ago.
You're so right. You're so right. I played for a very long time, and the game froze, and possibly like 2 generations. Did not save of children and pets. So it's fine.
Let that be a reminder to everyone to save periodically.
You have to do it periodically. And I know this.
Amen.
I know better. But you know how like in this, you blink your eye and it's been like 4 years in sim time, you know?
Oh, that's not Sims. That's the ADHD.
Oh, you're right.
Oh, no.
It could be both.
No, when I'm playing video games and Sean's watching, about every 10 minutes, he's just like, save.
Oh,
I'm about to walk directly up to a boss happily, and he's like, save. But now I'm playing Hollow Knight, and saving gets you nowhere.
Oh yeah, Jason's played that.
Every time you die, everything is taken from you.
No. I don't like that.
I don't like it either.
Anyway, speaking of inevitable death, David.
What?
I don't know why I said that.
He's definitely going to die one day. You're right about that.
We out here in these streets.
We out here
we gonna meet our end one day.
Yeah, what's been cringing you out recently?
Okay, so I have 2 things. So one is like a little story, and then one is just like a thing that is just cringing me out. So recently coming back from a trip, and it was like a long day of travel, and we were deboarding the plane, and I was very tired and annoyed. And so I did that asshole thing where I like pushed in front of a person in order to get out of the plane 1 person earlier in line. And immediately was like, I just entered asshole mode for one moment. Why did I do that? But at that point I was like, so I'm an asshole, and I know that I'm an asshole, and I knew it immediately, but I'm not going to be the person to initiate communication, to the person that I was an asshole to. So I just sort of like hung my head in shame and walked out of the airport. And I thought about that moment, probably weekly for the past few months. And, so that's been on my conscience.
Oh my God, it's been months.
It's been months. Yeah. This happened in May.
I hope this is catharsis for you. I hope now that you've said it, you can let it go.
I also hope that.
Let it go, David. Everyone's an asshole on an airplane.
I was an asshole on an airplane one time, and I felt bad about it for a long time.
Yeah, he's like, except for me, except for once.
So that was my sort of like cringy story where I'm just like, just cringing at myself. And then my one thing is, honestly, dude, Gen Z TikTok. I cannot with these people. I absolutely cannot. It's like they have a video, and it's like 1.7 million likes, and there's like a caption, and it's like, when the person you like doesn't, text you back, and you just sit there thinking about them, and it's like some song, and they're just like looking at the camera for like 5 seconds, and then like, I'm like, what is
the
word?
the word person is misspelled. Like,
yes.
And it's still viral. That there's so many of those flagrant misspellings that I've like, I'm starting to be like, am I missing the joke? Like, is it a thing because they like just don't care about things? You know what I mean?
I think it's to promote engagement, like, so people will like correct them.
Oh my
comments.
god,
Oh, yeah.
that's genius! It is. That's really smart.
Which is also annoying in and of itself.
Tina, what's been cringing you out recently?
You know how they say, what is it? I think it's in like Jewish tradition. They say that there's like a vein connecting your ring finger to your heart or something like that. And like that's why you put the ring there. Huh?
I think that's just science.
No such vein.
Oh.
Like running directly from your wedding band finger to your
mythological
heart.
Vein to heart from finger. Real?
I did
question mark?
Tina, we can't have more than one of these type of people on this pod.
I believe it's a Jewish myth.
Okay.
It's not real.
I don't think it's real. Only because I just read a fiction book where she was talking about how it's not real. Anyway, I have something like that, but different. Right now I have a zit in between my butt cheeks and another one in the middle of my forehead. And there's just I am imagining a line of zits through my body connecting them.
That's very upsetting.
Like crown and root chakra. Okay.
Yes. I've been saying from tip to tail.
Yeah, that's good.
My body is full of zits from tip to tail. And the cringiest part, butt cheek. I was like, Sean, can you look at this and tell me what I should do about it? And he was like, I think you just gotta let it hang. And I was like, you can't pop it, please. It's in between my butt cheeks. And he was like, no, I'm not. We can't. It's not ready. So I have my husband monitoring my butt zit.
What do you mean by let it hang? Like, is it a drooping situation?
I wanted him to pop it for me, but he said it's not ready yet.
Like it's gotta hang out.
It's gotta ferment.
Hang out.
Okay.
No.
Oh my god. Okay,
No,
we
sir.
have to get to the piece today because it's literally I've been waiting for this all my life. So today we're reading a piece called The Fairytale.
Ooh.
David, can you tell me what you remember of this piece? Not the content, but the context.
Okay, so what I remember is I don't know how the idea began, or like I don't remember any of that, but I do remember that we did have like an analog version. It was like a spiral notebook that we would like hand off to each other in between classes or whatever. And we would basically just like build and build and build on this insane story, you know, and we would just like, instead of learning or whatever, we would just write pages and pages of this fairy tale.
A bit like season 6 of Once Upon a Time, where it's just like, okay, what crazy thing can we write
Yes.
next?
It's like we were trying to
Your
jump the
favorite
shark
show.
every period, you know?
Yes.
And I do remember you like literally transcribing it as it was being written, but it was like,
Yeah, onto my computer.
yeah, but we didn't.
I just knew someday I would have a podcast where I would read all my own writing, even though podcasts had like not been invented yet.
Yes. But I don't think that I think we still passed around the analog version and you just kept typing it up.
Yeah.
You didn't like print it out and bring it to school right away.
Okay.
But I do remember, this is actually really funny. So I do remember that at one point it had gotten very, very lengthy, like perhaps 80 pages or something.
It is currently typed up about 80 pages.
Okay.
Holy shit.
I do remember you printing out one copy, giving the copy to me, and then I was like going to take it home and then like make 2 additional copies of it.
Oh, we were spreading it around so no one parent got mad about like all of the paper. Yeah.
Exactly. And my parents got mad about the paper.
Sure, I'm sure mine did too. I don't know how they could not.
And it was so funny. Like my mom literally walked in the office and saw all the paper on the ground and she was like, "What are you doing?"
What are you doing? My parents at least were probably like, "Oh, Christina wrote another novel, I guess."
Yeah, back at it.
Hopefully we don't have to read this one.
So that's basically what I remember.
What else do you remember, Meredith?
Yeah, okay. So like thinking about it earlier today, I was like, what do I remember? What I remembered was in my head, I thought it was like, I also remember the analog version. In my head, like we were like, I thought that we were all like typing up, like we would write something like at home or in between class in a notebook, and then we each like typed it up and then like added it to the stack and then passed it off. But that's obviously not true now that I'm thinking about it, because Christina, like you were so fucking militant about like always documenting things, and I literally like can envision the computer you had in your basement at your parents' place.
Oh my God, I did.
Yeah, that you were like writing at all the time. So
that's so funny.
That's false remembering. The other thing I remember around this is that around the same time, we were passing around a copy of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. We were like all reading it.
Really? That's cool.
And
that's
I feel like that like really influenced like the style of this story.
Wait, okay, Meredith, do you know whose copy it was?
No, I don't remember who started with it.
Was the Hitchhiker's Guide, was it like the ultimate five?
Yeah, it was like
five
all
books in one book. That was mine too. I still have that one. That's so we've all read that exact copy.
I never read that.
Okay, really? Maybe it was just me and Christina.
Okay, well, fuck David. He doesn't want to read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, I guess.
But I just feel like that, like I feel like reading that at the same time, like really influenced like the chaos I was like inserting. Yes, exactly.
Wow. Okay. So I remember, in 8th grade, me, Meredith, David, and almost every single other character you're about to meet in this fairy tale, we were on the gold team, which those were, I don't think they said this at the time, but they were like more advanced students, I think, who like would go into high school advanced classes for the most part.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was Meredith. And so we spent, a lot of time disrespecting the institution of school, which I stand by. And so this 100%. Was just one of our projects.
I do want to like shout out to Dick Blick, 8th grade English teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Real name.
Oh my God, yes.
Of.
I've talked about Mr. Blickendorfer on this show before.
Oh, bless him.
I know. I should send him this episode.
Oh my God.
We remember you because David, we talked about it because David, I think he asked me out in 8th grade using a cootie catcher outside of Mr. Blickendorfer's classroom.
I remember that.
Sent to the hallway for talking or something.
Yep, I remember that. Okay, iconic.
So he's actually a legend. And also, I think we've talked about the Weenus Club before that he's
yes.
That's like the most 07 thing I've ever heard.
Okay, but you know what's also funny?
It was like, 03, bitch. It was 03.
This is like the shit we were doing, like against the backdrop of like the stuff we were learning in class was like reading like Night by Eli Wiesel.
Yes.
And the Diary of Anne Frank.
Yeah, like survival in Auschwitz.
Well, and saying 03 reminded me that we lived like 30 minutes from the Pentagon, and it was like 2 years after 9/11. Like the vibes were weird.
Yeah, invasion of Iraq, baby. Like
so we were like, let's write something insane. So let's read it. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna read it as much as we can. Feel free to stop. Feel free to say, wait, what is that? We can explain it as we go. Leela, please, you're the outsider here. Stop for questions. Let us know.
Okay.
But I will be starting now. So hold on to your butts.
Butts.
Okay, so oh man, the butts it bites me in the butt again.
Oh my God.
The name of this document is the fairy tale. At the top of the document, though, it says realistic fairy tale. By David, Christy, Meredith, and Annie. That's Annie from 2 episodes ago, Annie Rowson. I mean, Annie Pocket. Whatever, she's married now. Whatever. Unless, of course, this story is insulting to you in any way, in which case Kevin wrote it. Okay. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful princess named Princess Krista. Princess Krista was tall and funny and smart and witty and kind and undoubtedly rich and a bit of a hippie and rather sarcastic at times, but still an all-around good person. Hey, Leela, who do you think this character is based on?
Mr. Bean.
Princess Krista and her formerly alive family ruled over a kingdom called Zafriaf. Now, that's Fairfax spelled backwards. She lived in a beautiful castle called the Hippie Hollow. David, would you like to pick up there?
I would love to. Princess Krista had a bunch of friends. There was David, the elf, though he was widely believed to really be a chipmunk, who enjoyed frolicking in the woods and hurling stones at wary passerby. Ardith, the castle fairy jester, often aided in Navid's chucking of the stones. There was Carolyn, the red-headed handmaiden, who spoke in a refreshing accent. Zephin was the knight whose secret love affair with Carolyn was strictly forbidden by his parents, who by now were old geezers, but he respected them just the same for some insane reason.
I just have to interject, like, reading this and then also scanning ahead a little bit. Like, I actively had, like, very intense crushes on, like, 50% of the characters in this story at any given time.
Oh, yeah. And I'll just want to say one more time, every single character is based on a very real person that we were friends with. Okay.
And, like, the names are, like, not disguised at all.
They're not disguised at all.
Navid is pretty funny.
Mm-hmm. Navid Dix, baby.
So I was I was big into like name websites and stuff back in the day, so I'm sure that's how we found this. I was like, show me a name that ends with Avid. But I have since fucking 2002 or whatever, I have gotten and lost a friend named Navid. He's, I think, Iranian. So it's like an Iranian
name,
Navid. Yeah. But at the time we were like, ooh, Navid, like David, but jazzy. No, it's literally from another culture in another language.
Accidental appropriation. It's fine.
All right, Meredith, hit us.
Pret was the wizard with cool weenus powers. Shelley was the castle scholar. Karis was the librarian. Irene was the prophet. Horgan was the incompetent cook. And Devin was the town drunk. Jesus fucking Christ. Sorry. There was Jake and Alec, the stable boys. The ladies in waiting were Sharon and Steffi.
Okay, I don't remember who any of these people are except for Brett. I remember Brett.
I got Brett.
Who's Shelley? Who's Karis? Who's
I can't
Irene?
place that. And then we know Devin.
Is that Kevin?
Yeah, of course, right?
But Kevin is I think Kevin, I'm gonna bleep his last name, is a separate character in this book. I think. Jake and Alec. Who's Jake and Alec?
I can't even remember who was in our class.
Wait. I think I know.
Oh, Alec.
I think
Alex.
it was Alex and Jack the bassoon player.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Nice.
I think Corgan was Morgan.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, one of the twins?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, where's the other one?
Carter
Well, he wasn't on our team.
Oh.
He was not on Team Gold.
Oh, he wasn't smart enough.
I think he was on the other.
That's gotta suck.
He was on the other
to be
one.
that twin.
He was on the other smart team.
I think they intentionally separated them.
Yeah.
Okay. Leela, should Leela read or should we just read because we wrote
You guys just go ahead.
Okay.
She said, please.
Then, not a friend but a foe, was Kizzy, the witch. Kizzy fancied herself a sorceress, a sort of dark royalty. Her dwarf slaves carried her through the woods each day between the Black Manor and the Spring of Eternal Youth, where she drank to stay young eternally, hence the name Spring of Eternal Youth. She thought she was the coolest thing. Kizzy's second in command was Corey, a natural seer. On her side, Kizzy also had Rochelle and Stephanie, spelled weird, the cliche hags. And Dustin, her sarcastic and funny but completely whipped love slave. Lots of slaves happening in this. I definitely am seeing some Douglas Adams in here. The way the Spring of Eternal Youth, where she drank to stay young eternally, hence the name. That definitely is giving 13-year-old emulating Douglas Adams. So far, Leela, do you have any questions for us?
No, but I mean, Kizzy sounds aside from the slaves,
Just rampant slavery.
like it sounds like she slays. Honestly, sounds like she eats. Like she sounds like she sounds like she's giving. As they say.
I actually 100% know who all these people are because they were like my partner's friends in high school.
Oh,
wow.
Really? So that's the thing is a lot of my memories of high school are of there's this narrative I'm creating in my head, right? Of my time in high school. And so there's a lot of cools versus nerds, preps versus nerds discourse that I'm sure was slightly there. And I do remember maybe 2 or 3 specific people being very specifically bullying me. But I think for the most part, there was a lot of fear. And all of the people listed in this specific paragraph, I think were probably not mean to me. I was just like afraid of them and their friends
socially.
You know what I mean?
I think like looking at like I was like, all these people were like fine. I was just like severely intimidated.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yes. None of these people do I have. There are a couple memories that I have from high school of being like, that was a bullying moment. This, I don't. None of these people.
Yeah. All these people like, sorry, I was fucked.
I mean, you named one character Stephanie and another one Steffi. Like, maybe a little light bullying. Okay.
Well, Steffi, I think, will never come back again. I don't know who that is. Maybe she will. Let me see. I do remember Dustin is that guy Justin H. I forget what the rest of that name is, but I remember him too. He was funny, but he hung out with a bunch of cool people, so I was like, huh. It's almost like you can be friends with different people for different reasons, but that can't be right.
No.
Sarcastic and funny, but completely whipped love slave. It's just an 8th grade boy dating a girl.
Whipped because he must have been whipped because I don't agree with his partnership.
Exactly.
He must be hypnotized. So I don't. There's no record of like who wrote what. So any of us could have written all of this. I probably wrote the opening paragraph where I talk about myself for several lines, but
I mean, it is a great opening line.
It was incredible.
It is pretty great.
David, is it your turn to read?
It can be. Okay, so one Thursday morning, Ardith and Navid, himself being a dwarf slave, but got caught up in the rebellion. Wait, no, I thought he was an elf. Well, whatever, just continue, damn it. We're harmlessly...
Those are all in separate parentheses.
Yeah. We're out harmlessly heaving stones at passerby. They were safely hidden behind a bush in a wood, but would never get caught anyway because they never got caught. Because everyone knows that chipmunks are sneaky and adorable, with the exception of Navid's mom, who dis. Irregardless, ... anyway, ...
Okay. Lot of stuff going on here. Okay, like, congratulations on your rebellion and escaping slavery, David.
Thank you. So I guess I was a snitch in the rebellion because my brethren are still enslaved. However, I am vibing.
The chipmunk thing was a joke at the time.
Yes.
You know how you just are mean to your friends because you love them.
Yes. And that was a translation. That whole thing, that identity originated from Boy Scouts.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. And because, of course, like Rory and
David, like, looking like a chipmunk. I'm putting it in air quotes.
Right, because I had large front teeth, and still do.
And you were short and chubby and adorable.
That's right. I'm a small little woodland creature.
Yeah, he really is.
Beauty. Honestly, same.
Yeah, Leela, yeah, like hobbity. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Leela is a total Rosie Cotton.
I am.
God, guys.
I definitely identify with hobbit culture. I just want to like eat potatoes and vibe.
Totally.
I love that.
Do we think Irregardless was ironically or not?
Yes.
I probably would say so.
When did Mean Girls come out? Was that after this?
It was after
That's
this.
a great question.
We influenced Mean Girls.
Definitely. Which came first? Who knows?
Mean Girls was 2004, if I remember correctly.
Right after.
Yeah, so we did, I guess, influence it.
We were what the culture was feeling.
Meredith, you want to pick it up?
Sure. Navid threw a particularly large stone, which hit a particularly large head. A whiny shriek rang through the wood. Who threw that? Ardith and Navid immediately recognized the voice as that of Kizzy. The two glanced at each other before burrowing further into the bush. The noise of crackling leaves led Corey to discover the two rock heavers. She then flipped her hair. No period. Next paragraph. Theirs!
I forgot to roast us earlier because who doesn't love starting an 80-page long narrative with a list of 30 characters with no context? So now they're like, oh, Corey. And I'm like, I don't remember. Who's that?
Corey?
I don't remember. Corey was definitely that girl,
no.
Tori. No, Tori. One of the cool girls. I remember her.
Gosh.
Yeah. Again, someone that I think I just wasn't friends with did not bully me.
As I recall, she was like, fine.
Fine. Completely fine. I mean, and honestly, I won't speak for y'all, but I was probably very annoying back then. Like, if someone was reacting negatively to me and I'm like, oh my God, I'm a victim. It's like, maybe I was just fucking obnoxious.
I do feel similar. Like,
I identify with that.
Yeah, I do think I just was like profoundly annoying because you know what? I didn't know who I was.
That's why we found each other. We were like, oh, we annoy everyone else.
Yeah, let's hang out and like be above it.
Let's write a book.
but clearly not.
There! Squealed Corey in her annoyingly high and unnatural voice that sounded like it belonged to a 2-year-old's body. Okay, Christina, who is the bully? Who is the bully? Because, and like, these things are based in reality. I don't remember in my memory that this girl that this character is based on had a high voice, a natural voice.
I don't think she did.
I just don't think we would have written it, or maybe me, if there wasn't some reason. I don't know. Maybe it was like a joke in class or something. I don't fucking know. Okay, she flipped her hair. Seize them! Then she flipped her hair again. Two poor little dwarves leapt up and grabbed Ardith and Navid by the wrists. Navid was hardly taller than his dwarf, being an elf. Guess not a Tolkien elf, different, like a Christmas elf. But Ardith had to lean down quite a bit, and by the time she had walked over to Kizzy's open carriage, she was tipping over.
David?
Who threw that? Kizzy shrieked again. Ardith and Navid exchanged looks before shrugging. Then Corey flipped her hair. If you do not speak, Kizzy thundered, I will find other ways of discovering who threw that acorn at me. It was a rock, said Navid and Ardith in unison. Aha, screeched Kizzy. You knew what it was, therefore you must have thrown it. Excuse me, my lady, said Rochelle. I doubt they could both have thrown it. Kizzy frowned. Do you dare contradict me? She demanded. Kizzy stood up and, tipping over the hem of her overly dramatic black dress, clambered out of the carriage. Then Corey flipped her hair yet again.
Like, did she do that? Did she flip her hair a lot?
She did have nice hair.
She had really nice hair. Yeah. I remember.
Yeah,
I never forget a blonde.
It's like, again, who was the bully? We were just really jealous of her great hair.
And like, it's like we didn't show this to them, but like, does that make it better?
Yeah, we just waited 20 years to broadcast it on a podcast.
Oh my god. Meredith.
Oh boy, okay. Rochelle, which by the way I think is Rachel. Is that correct?
Yeah, okay. I think so too.
I don't remember.
Who also is like a very nice person.
Has never wronged me once.
No, like never.
I remember thinking she was very hot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so that was probably very scary to me because I wouldn't come to terms with being bisexual for another, checks watch, 15 years.
Exactly.
There it is. Drink for gay.
Drink for gay.
Oh, well.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, it's like, to our loyal listeners, everyone is drinking right now.
Yeah. No, but really.
Okay. Rochelle quickly stuttered that, no, contradicting such a lovely sorceress is forbidden. Mere handmaidens are not worth sorceresses. Noticing. And is that a new hairdo? It looks nice. The hair comment made Corey think of her hair, and she flipped it.
Douglas Adams, is that you?
I know. Okay. Satisfied, Kizzy sat back down. By now, the sun was beginning to set. Soon it would be dark, at which point it would be near impossible to navigate through the woods. Kizzy, of course, didn't realize this, but Rochelle did and whispered it into Kizzy's ear. That's what I said Kizzy. She pointed her staff at Corey, who flipped her hair. Tell me who threw this rock at me. Having said this, she sat down and began compulsively combing her hair. Okay.
Corey bowed. Surely, sorceress, while now purposefully trying to annoy the authors, flipping her hair again.
Douglas Adams, relax.
Kizzy then strode over to where Navid and Ardith were standing. She grabbed Ardith by the chin and stared intensely into her eyes. After a moment,
for gay. I'm sorry.
I know. I was like literally like, ugh.
After a moment, Corey announced, "The badly dressed one did nothing."
So cunty.
Okay, I literally had to have written this because I was just, like, this is the most like self-disparaging paragraph I've seen so far.
Okay, so one thing I remember about you, Meredith, is you in 8th grade, and I want to stamp this as 2002 or 2003, 2004, I think. So
was badly dressed.
skinny jeans did not come into fashion until 2008, 9.
Yeah.
Meredith had, we wouldn't call them skinnies these days, but she had like straight jeans. Everyone else wore flares. And I was like, Meredith is so cool. She doesn't even care about flares at all. And I think I bought straight down jeans because you had them, Meredith, even though it was really uncool for both of us.
I need you to understand, like, the reason I was wearing straight down jeans is because my parents did not let me wear jeans to school until like 8th grade. First of all.
Really?
Yeah, because in my mom's eyes, like, full context, come from a horse girl background. My mom was like, jeans are for horseback riding. Like, you don't wear them to school.
Whoa.
So I literally was not allowed to wear jeans to school until like 7th or 8th grade. And then when I did wear jeans to school, they had to be very straight leg, like normal jeans.
Interesting. That was so uncool at the time, but I said, Meredith's really rocking this, and I want to rock it too.
Oh my God. The fact that I was your style icon is like very depressing news.
You had red Chucks, right?
I did. Those were the coolest thing I had.
I had green Chucks. So together we were a nice little nerdy Christmas country picture.
Right. That's right. Our little toes tapping.
And David wore flip-flops all year long, in case anyone was wondering.
I did. And now I live in Florida and I still do, bro.
Oh my God, he finally, holy shit, as much as I've roasted you for your year-round flip-flops in your life, you have finally created a life where that is appropriate. I'm so happy for you.
Everything in my life has been leading to this, you guys.
Like, it would be like 18 degrees out in January and this motherfucker would still be in flip-flops and I'd be like, man, nobody wants to be looking at your January toes.
Oh, it's so real. It was inspiring in its own way, though.
Dude, I hate shoes. Like, it makes me feel claustrophobic. As soon as I have to wear shoes, obviously, as an adult human person, I take them off at the earliest opportunity every single time. In the car, on the subway, don't care.
I'm sure you're familiar with the classic film, The Birdcage.
Sure.
I am familiar with the classic film, The Birdcage, yes.
There's the Hank Azaria, like, housekeeper character who, like, can't walk in shoes. He, like, actually cannot walk in shoes. You can build that life for yourself now.
That's right.
You've been set free. I resent that, cried Ardith as she crossed her arms. Want to stop talking now? Asked Corey, smirking sarcastically, but failing to send across the right look because she was a prep, and preps can't do sarcasm well. Then she flipped her hair.
This is Christina being like, I have a monopoly on sarcasm.
I invented it, you idiot. Want to stop talking now? No, I don't. That's too bad. Ardith grinned and said loudly, your mom's too bad. In your pants! All capitals. You know, me, us, the elegant, sarcastic writers. She then stood to the side with a satisfied grin.
Ew,
David,
sicko.
no, pick it up.
I was picking up what you were putting down. Ew, sicko, cried Corey. The anti-prep comment made her hair frizz, so she strutted, not paced, in a circle with a ridiculous number of hair products. David was now shaking. By mere process of elimination, he was pinned down as guilty. Corey grinned after her humiliating bad hair moment, showing a mouthful of ridiculously large, seeming teeth after having her braces removed. Shall we
Mean.
No, we were all just jealous.
Shall we assume the elf is the culprit?
Kizzy stopped brushing her hair for long enough to say, no, check him anyway. I like watching them quiver in fear. David, despite his fear, said, that's a sick kind of amusement, you know. You should see a specialist. Look who's talking.
And I want to clarify that the narrator said, look who's talking, David. It's not in quotes. That's me or Meredith probably wrote that recommendation.
Yeah, almost guaranteed.
That's so funny.
Kizzy stood again. I need no therapy. But milady, said Stephanie, you were already in therapy.
That's when that was a diss. That's when you're in therapy was like a huge diss.
This is actually really funny. Yeah, once again, just jealous of the girls in 8th grade in therapy when clearly I needed it.
No.
Kizzy's eye began twitching. She pointed her staff at Stephanie and spoke a few Latin-sounding words, but with no result. She tried again. Nothing happened. Roast her, damn you, Kizzy cried at the staff. A bit of smoke spewed from the end. That was the extent of the magic. Kizzy looked about her in confusion. Off with her head, she finally cried, jabbing her finger into the air. Air rhymes with hair, I thought, Corey. Then she flipped her hair.
Okay. The two dwarves not cutting off Navid's circulation at the wrist performed a similar capture on Stephanie. Shall I check the elf now, sorceress? Asked Corey as she flipped her hair. Oh, go on with it. Corey grabbed Navid's chin while flipping her hair and stared at his eyes. He threw the stone, sorceress. As I thought, boasted Kizzy. Navid felt the need to point out that seeing as he was the only suspect left, it could have been no other. Parentheses. It was me! Just kidding. Well, obviously, I was just kidding since that exclamation seems to be a disembodied one.
Get off the stage!
Kizzy grinned her stupid grin. I shall not even dignify that with a response. Geez, said Navid. If you're going to say something clever and insulting, at least make it up yourself. I mean, really, if I had a nickel for every time I've heard someone say that, well, then I'd surely be able to afford doing something better with my time than throwing rocks at losers who think they are witches or poking Princess Krista or talking to chipmunks. Yeah, said Ardith with a mock attitude.
Yeah!
Is that a mock attitude? Asked Kizzy, motioning for the dwarves to resume the carriage pulling. She turned her head away from Ardith. Tie the three of them up.
This is my turn? Are you going?
Yes.
Okay. Me? Cried Ardith. I didn't do anything, you repulsive hole of dill. Dill hole?
Yeah.
Dill hole.
Oh. We said that.
We said that.
I guess we did say that.
We totally
Isn't that yeah, and then sorry, this is like not, again, this is the narrator, this is not like anyone speaking. Isn't that a pickle? Do they even have holes? No, stupid. And then the author remembered that the characters couldn't hear her.
Okay, a clue. David did not write that line.
Just then, Devin dropped out of the sky and landed in front of Corey, who nervously flipped her hair. He then got up and ran into the woods, an angry mob following.
Okay, I don't know.
Pursued
so
by angry mob.
Yes, a couple things. One, for some reason, I really thought we called him by his Lord-given Christian-ass like school name. In this, we don't. It's Kevin. I mean, it's Devin. So that's good. Also, this is like a refrain that comes up again like every 2 or 3 pages for the rest of this narrative. Like it comes up. I'm shocked it took us this long to get to the first Devin dropping out of the sky.
Stephanie, Ardith, and Navid were tied with rope. Supposedly magical rope, you know, but Corey was the one to put a spell on it. We all know how incompetent Corey can be. In fact, it probably wasn't magical because she probably got sidetracked by her hair. That was all in parentheses. To the back of the carriage and blindfolded. Why were they blindfolded? Well, because that's how the story goes, still.
Take note, Kizzy, said Kizzy to Corey. They are to be executed at dawn. Why is it always dawn, you ask, narrator? Because, again, that's how the story goes, Dillhole. I want everyone to get ready for the next line. ... Cerebellum! What's that? What is that? Does anyone know? What is that?
Brain stuff?
Why? Why are we doing cerebellum in the middle of the narrative?
I'm getting whispers of a moment from a science class.
Yeah, like that must have been an IRL joke we just threw in there.
I also thought it could have been, because this was also very much a part of like the time on social media where it was like, I'm just random, toast.
Yeah,
you know, like,
so random.
XD, rar.
Mm-hmm.
After trudging along, Ardith and Navid were locked in the jail cell across from the one Stephanie was in. The two sat down. Haha, Ardith realized. Kizzy's in therapy. Leave her alone. She and Navid had a good laugh, but soon had to admit that they were freaked.
God, this sucks, Ardith said. Your mom sucks in your pants, Navid answered. But seriously, this is really bad, Ardith said. Your mom is really bad in your pants, Navid answered again. Oh my God, shut up, Navid, Ardith yelled. Fine, Navid said. With
an extra little jazzy quotation mark after Navid said.
Is there one from earlier that we didn't find? This has all been a conversation. Did we miss one, you guys?
You never know. A quote within a quote within a quote.
Mm-hmm.
So edgy.
Oh my god. I think that is a good place to stop. I think that's a good place to stop.
God help us.
We simply must stop. But I will remind y'all. Oh my god, 160 pages. Do you see this on the cursor
That's
on the
not
side?
real.
It says we're on page 7 of 160. Let's see if that's real.
Oh my god.
I'm speechless.
Because I have not read this from
Start to
tail. Guys, these are all unique pages. I just saw something about speaking Yiddish. I saw cerebellum again. Oh, this page just says take up space.
See, that only took like an eighth of a page.
It's like literally a full page.
Oh, you know what? I bet that's one when we were writing something like super dramatic and we didn't want the text to be visible.
Oh my god, we use a lot of like queer as a disparaging term.
I was going to say,
like,
I just saw queer in all caps, yeah.
Wait, okay. I found Laura.
Oh.
A rule. Wait, let me
A rule.
Queer.
Oh yeah, more.
It accidentally. Oh my god, we say queer 56 times in this book, guys.
Stop.
That's very scary. Oh my god.
And that was named by like full name.
No, do you remember we had a civics teacher whose name rhymed with Mr. Queer?
Yes.
And we
I did hate him.
Called him Mr. Queer. And one time David was raising his hand and he accidentally cupped that guy's balls.
Oh my god! I had completely forgotten about that, but I do remember that. Jesus.
I like full out just almost pissed myself. I completely forgot about that.
100%.
Guys, there's some really crazy shit
so
in here.
bad.
Yo, I don't even know if we should read this.
Oh, he did have that chapstick all the time. I forgot about
Show
that.
did.
Oh, good God.
Oh my god.
Ooh, a queer army. Can I join?
I know.
Oh.
I'm there. I
think it was like a queer army, like negative.
Yeah,
positive.
Yeah. I love how now we're like, ooh, a queer army.
Oh my god.
Leela, we've been talking a lot, as is our right. We wrote 160 pages of nonsense. But Leela, like, how are you feeling? What are you feeling right now? Do you have any questions for us? Do you have any concerns?
No, I think this is like very funny and cute and sweet. It's like a nice little thing you guys had together.
That is so generous.
I think there's just so much room for like error and like general easy like grammatical mistakes and things like that, and there's none. I saw none. Everything in there is completely intentional. Now, is every sentence a run-on sentence? Yes.
Well, yeah, but that's like part of the funny.
Right. It's the joke.
Douglas Adams.
And like I was gonna say, if I continued developing that style of writing, it eventually I think would have become good, like Douglas Adams or like Jane Austen. You know how you're reading Jane Austen and you're like, this bitch is using so many goddamn words. This sentence has been like 10 paragraphs long, and then she gets to the end and you're like, Jane Austen, that was so fucking
you
funny.
did it. You've done it again, Janie.
Janie.
Meredith, how do you feel now that we've read that?
Just like from my personal knowledge, from what like I vaguely remember about all the homies back then, it's like we were obviously just like a bunch of like severely mentally ill children going through some like really tough stuff at home and like not having any of the tools to talk about it, and then also everyone was like actually just gay.
Sure. And we were all dating each other straightly.
Yeah,
we sure were.
Weird.
Yeah, because
just trying so hard.
It's like weird. I've been dating David for 3 years and there still is no attraction. I don't understand what the problem is.
Yeah, it's like actually just
date
like
harder.
Open contempt, actually. Like filtered through a fairy tale. Yeah, I guess it's just like it's like so profoundly cringe, but it's also just like such like, oh my god, these poor little babies. Like,
poor babies. The cringier it gets, the sadder I feel for myself.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. I'm like,
this is, prouder, because growth.
Yeah, growth,
Ooh,
baby.
That's what we always do on this show. We're like, wait, we're good now.
Also, like, the writing, like, quality is surprisingly good for, like, 13-year-olds.
We're writers. Yeah, like, we're writers. True. It was, like, actually a good career path.
We were on to something.
Yeah, for real. David, how are you feeling? What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, for me, there's a lot about like middle and high school that I just like really don't remember. It's like kind of one of those things where, for me in particular, it was like pretty rough for a pretty long time. So there's a lot of that that's like gone away. But I really think that this is like so cool because I remember the feeling of like our group of friends, and like it was just like it was a very pure kind of friendship in my memory, and like we always just like were goofing off and like, you know, not taking
we had a
things
lot
seriously.
of creative energy, and we used it all for jokes.
Yes, we were just trying so hard to like be funny and like get laughs from other people, and like.
And Leela, what have I said on this podcast before?
You're the funniest you ever were was in 8th grade.
It's true. I think that's true.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Everything was so fucking funny. Remember that one time you put gum on my shoulder, David, and it was like the funniest thing that had ever happened to any of us?
We disrupted poor Miss Salila's class for 45 minutes.
Oh.
Remember when I sat in her sink?
I knew. He was little, guys.
He was little.
I put my whole body in a sink in a science classroom in a high school and sat there until she told me to get out.
Reading this, I'm surprised that there was only like one or two things that I kind of didn't want to say out loud. Scrolling through, I do think there's more things.
Yeah, it's good that we stopped like firmly in the introduction.
There's a couple things that I really remember from this that we like didn't get to. Like I remember that we catch Zephin masturbating a lot, but we called it flogging his log. That was something that we thought was like very funny. Flogging the log was like very funny to us.
Did we make that up? That can't be an original. Flogging the log.
No way it's original. I must have heard it in some old movie or some
really
shit.
Funny to me.
And I think that the next, it's 160 pages. I think the next 153 pages go on like much like this. You know, with like, is it a plot or is it just like a thing that's happening right now? And like,
What's the difference?
It developed or is it just jokes the whole time? Does Tori ever stop flipping her hair? I don't think so.
Probably not.
Yeah, I just have like nothing but like fond memories of you guys and this project that we did, for better or for worse.
Yeah, it really like propelled all of 8th grade.
Yeah. 8th grade is not a good time to be a student. It's like, what? You want me to read Shakespeare right now? I'm an idiot. Like, I barely know right away.
Yeah, again, like a fuck ton of Holocaust literature. Like, no wonder we were so just like much. Full out jokes.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It was rough out there. Also, like algebra, I would fail algebra like 3 more times. Like,
oh my god, me too. Me too. Math is the reason I quit the full IB program.
Wait, me too.
Math.
Oh my god,
I thought I couldn't do it because dumb girl, but I couldn't do it because dumb motivation.
Okay. I need to
Anyway, it's fine.
No, I'm like I need to efface that part of myself because you know I'm still on dumb girl and it's like that's not fair.
I could have done so much more math if I had tried.
Sure.
Why though?
Well, because I always think about like, okay, I love my life. I work for a publisher. I'm having a great life. But like, I always think about what if I had become a tree scientist? I really just wish I was like a biologist and I studied trees and I just would have had to do more math and I thought I couldn't, you know?
Or
I
more
thought
drugs.
I just literally couldn't. Oh, no, I've done the drugs.
Or more.
I don't know if it would have helped me.
More?
Any last words before we wrap it up?
Just, you know, shout out to Annie, was she was here.
Yes.
5 is a lot on a podcast.
Yeah.
Maybe I will rotate y'all for future readings of other sections.
Just have it as like a mini series where we just like read a couple pages.
Like literally.
Tune in next week for the update.
Annie, other than becoming mentally well and medicated, Annie has not changed a fucking bit, y'all.
I love that.
She is so charismatic. Big, like, goofy mom energy. Like, love
absolute
her.
charmer.
Yeah.
100%.
All-star.
Bring it home, Leela.
All right, kiddos. So at this part of the show, we like to play a game. It's called Horny, Sad, or Just Plain Bad. So, David, I'll start with you. After reading some fun excerpts from the Fairytale, or the realistic Fairytale,
so realistic.
Would you categorize this piece as horny, sad, or just plain bad?
So I think at this point we haven't delved deeply enough into the piece to call it either horny or sad. At this point, I would call it just plain bad, but I'm willing to change my assignment perhaps later on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. How about you, Meredith?
Oh yeah, this is just plain sad.
Yeah. You can pick that one.
But I do think I'm just adding a lot of like personal context from 8th grade.
Sure. As is your right as an author.
Totally. Yeah, I feel like all of Tina's pieces have a strong flare of horniness to them. Speaking, we were talking about the flare genes. But I feel really weird picking horny for this that I know that was written by and about 8th graders.
Sure. Sure, yeah.
I don't
Good
know.
Valid.
So I think we're going to go. I really don't think it was, but I don't. Ooh, this is tough. Okay. I think I'm going to go with, I guess I'll go with sad. Yeah, I'll go with sad because, yeah, I know you guys like had a lot of growing and changing to do. And
Clearly.
you know.
David and I would go on to try to date for 3 more years after this.
We can make it work, guys.
Round 2, we tried it.
I think this is what love's like, probably, right?
Probably.
What
if no one ever loves me again the way my 8th grade gay bestie loved me that one time we made out underneath the willow tree?
Okay, but like that's a real coming of age like journey for
Yes.
for the gals in suburbia. Like
You will be loved again, and if you're not, it still is better than this.
Okay, yeah, so it's like pretend that you guys have the music rights to like outro this whole thing with like you will be loved because anyway, sorry. Maroon 5.
I'm also gonna go with just plain bad because I have not yet seen the sad or horny. I mean, it always makes me a little sad to see myself being like emotionally underdeveloped, you know, and like taking insult where there was none, and like us and theming, very like, you know. So that does make me a little bit sad, but I think overall this was just plain bad. But it had the sparks. It had sparks where you're like, wow, these kids are insane. They should all be in therapy, which is apparently a huge diss. But damn it, they're pretty good writers.
Yeah. And like,
they got something.
To be clear, I said sad, but I do think that this was a very joyful piece. Like,
we were laughing a lot for sure.
You can tell. You
fun.
can kind of like feel the laughter in there. It just makes me like want to be one of you guys' friends from back in the day.
Well, and like picture, you know, we talked about how we were like writing it in pieces, handing it off. So picture you going into like first period science or whatever. You sit down for science and then you get handed the piece that your friend wrote yesterday, and you're like doing the morning announcements or whatever, and you're like reading it and you're just like like in class. Like, what joy. That was probably so joyful.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to be like dramatic and or depressing, but like it did give me a reason to like wake up and go to school every day.
Hell yeah.
And I mean, like, more broadly, my friendships did in general, because, like, we all made friends. The year before that, we weren't in the same classes, like, to the same extent. And, like, I think our friend group really solidified in 8th grade. And, you know, we were, like, starting to just barely understand ourselves by, like, seeing parts of ourselves in other people for the first time. And that was really meaningful to me, you know? I love you guys.
Oh, I love you guys too.
Oh, I love you too.
Oh, Leela, we love you too.
I love you
guys too. Leela, I just met you, but I love you too.
Leela, I met you like 3 years ago, but I love you.
We were so drunk.
Yeah, we were like really drunk. No, we were. We were all.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much to the two of you for coming on the show, because this has been an absolute joy. And would you be interested in reading more? I will skim it ahead of time to make sure we're not doing any slurs.
Yeah, I would love to do like a 20-part series. Yeah, as long as I'm not complicit in any like retroactive slurring,
sure.
That would be great.
Sure. And do either of you have anything, like any projects you want to plug, or like anything you want to shout out? And absolutely no stress if not.
It's like, I don't want my name associated. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I get it. I freaking get it.
No, I'm not. I'm not kidding. Let me see. David, you go first. Sorry.
So Well, I'm a person who likes to remain mostly invisible.
Sure.
And
we support that.
I am an avid consumer of social media, but a very, very rare poster. So I'm good.
He's plugging getting out of credit card debt, right?
That's right, yeah.
My plug is like, okay, I left to the US 2 years ago, haven't been back since.
Oh shit.
Recommend.
Yeah, it's not good over here right now.
We're not having a good time.
I like pretty like I like for the last like 2 years I've been like ironically like haha not coming back, and then I've had like multiple friends message me like, bitch, don't come back. Don't come back. Like no, just don't. Anyway, but recommend. I was gonna say like my plug is like the only like publication I have to my name is I made a 20-page zine about Miley Cyrus, and I relate it to the backdrop of being a suburban teen outside of DC in the 2000s in the aftermath of 9/11 and American invasion of Iraq. And anyway,
hello, perfect show content.
Wait, but Leela, don't forget we already have 9/11 content for the next 3 years.
And we already have a double header for this year, so.
But 9/11 comes around once a year, so we would love to talk about that.
Anyway, one day I'll come back to the States and I'll distribute that zine. That's my only plug.
Okay, hell yeah. And I just want to be clear that you guys both understand. Leela and I both, in middle school or elementary school, wrote 9/11 songs. And that's what we're going to be doing for 9/11 this year.
Why were you hiding this from us the whole time?
I had a lot of other embarrassing shit to shove in your faces instead.
9/11 songs, like we could have come together, you know?
Just, listen to the pod on 9/11 this year. I think it's a Wednesday. That's when the show comes out.
Thank God.
From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm just like, thank God I have quality content to listen to on 9/11.
What a sentence.
Oh my God. Thank you both so much. This has been really, really, really fun.
Thank you both so much for hosting and bringing the joy and platforms, amongst other things. I know someone's paying for a Zoom Premium account on here.
That'd be Tina.
Great.
Pay for that shit out of pocket.
Yeah, shout out to that.
If you don't think it's right for me to have to pay for our Zoom Premium out of pocket, sign up for our Patreon for $1 a month. You can be part of our Discord server for $5 a month. You get access to our monthly bonus episodes where we get to talk about literature that doesn't cringe us out.
And buy our merch.
Buy our merch. Photo shoot coming soon. Someday. Someday it'll come.
Someday.
I keep rescheduling. That's the trouble about making plans with your friends that have no actual due date ever, is it's like, let's do it next week forever until you both die.
Just do it on 9/11.
That's a good idea. That's a beautiful time of year.
It is.
It really is. Anyway, shout out to people in Richmond. I'll come soon.
Cool. Hell yeah,
All
you
right.
can stay here. You can stay in this very futon.
Okay.
Everything the light touches.
I forgot you have family here.
I just have Sarah.
Well, she is a better guest room than me. All right, that's it for Burn Before Reading.
Until next time, remember,
your cringe is part of you.
But don't be a dillweed. It's only a small part of you.
Wait, it was dill hole.
Wait, do it again.
Until next time. Wait. That's not my line. That's it for Burn Before Reading.
Do it again.
That's it for Burn Before Reading.
Until next time, remember,
your cringe is part of you.
But don't be a dill hole. It's only a small part of you. Thanks for listening to Burn Before Reading.
Created by me, Christina Khan.
Hosted and produced by Christina Khan and me, Leela Hilton.
Logo designed by Michael Hardison. Follow him on Instagram at RoyGBivRVA or check out his work at wildlingpress.com.
Theme music by Sakura Wishes.
Find me online at Christina Khan.
And find me at Leels for Reels.
Follow the podcast on Instagram and Tumblr at BurnBeforePod.
Or feel free to give us an email at burnbeforepod@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening, friends.
See you next time.
Deus Ex Media.